Hi everybody, it's Amy from Amy Stitchery. Today is Saturday. I don't know why I can never have my thing up ahead of time. Saturday, December 31st. Happy New Year's Eve. It just struck me that I don't have my stats up for the year. I've already done a whip parade. I talked a little bit about plans. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about plans. I'm not sure why this other computer won't come up, but I'll keep working on it while we talk. It is New Year's Eve. We have been, well, let's see. Originally, we were going to host a New Year's Eve celebration here. We have now moved it to friends of ours are going to host it because Matt has not been feeling well. For those of you that know my husband, his name is Matt. He's not been feeling well, so we are having friends host. That way, if he feels up to going, we can go for a little while. And if he doesn't, then we stay home. So we need to be flexible today. But I thought I would get one more video up for the year. And let's talk about some stats. So let's do that first. I started year off with 36 cross-stitch whips. I had 13 finishes. I've had 15 starts, which already does not bode well for the reduction of that number. But I also looked at all of my projects, honestly, as you guys are well aware by now if you've been following along, and I've ditched some projects or unkitted them to restart them. And those were 6. So I netted out at 33 whips. That being said, I had 3 starts in December. Of course, 2 of them are finished. One of them you will see today because it won't be finished for quite some time. And I do plan to have starts in 2023. But we'll talk about that more when we're on plans. If you're new here, you have stumbled up on my floss tube. It is about cross stitch. Sometimes knitting, sometimes quilting, sometimes reading. Yeah, there'll be a little bit of everything today, I think. A little bit of most things. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. And I always say it, welcome to my crazy. So today is going to be a whip update. I have notes today so I can keep on track. We're going to have a whip update. I'm going to review what I think went wrong in 2022 and what I think I'm going to do to improve it in 2023. I'm going to talk about how I'm trying to tackle 2023 and some other goals that I have for 2023. So here we go. Let's do a whip update first. I don't know what to show you first. I guess I'm just going to, because I've kind of been stitching willy-nilly because it's the end of the year. And that's it. I'll do whips first and then we'll do the new start last. I'm hoping that's in my bin here. I guess we'll see, right? It's here somewhere. This must be in the bin. First one I'm going to show you is Floss Tube Friends. This is by October House Fiber Arts. This I'm doing with some Floss Tube friends of mine. I am stitching this on 40 Count Beach Brew by R&R. And I didn't get a whole lot done with this. I got more lettering done at the bottom. But there's that. Figured I worked on it, so I'm going to show you. And then I'm just going to kind of pitch these on the floor because I have to spend some time in this room cleaning up today. I just have to. It has been a mess in here. Next one is my oldest whip. It is Lost No More. It didn't get a ton, but I did pull it out. I mainly pulled it out because it was the next one on my full coverage rotation to get 1,000 stitches. I'm going to hold this up. Sorry about all the threads, but there you go. I mainly did some fill-in over here and in the sheep. It has not had 1,000 stitches yet. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I don't have a ton to show you. I don't think. I did a little more work on Royal Holiday. You saw her for my last, it's a Mira. It is Royal Holiday. I'm stitching her, sorry I should be telling you this stuff. I'm stitching her on 28 count Abyss by Fabrics by Stephanie with all the called for. And I have her in a Q-snap, but I need to take the pattern off, so hold on. Sorry for the hanging threads. So I've done a lot of work in her collar here, and then this part of the cape. Let me put this pattern back on so I don't lose this. I finally started making working copies of patterns. I don't know why. I've always just kind of used patterns the way I use patterns, but it struck me that I probably should make working copies. All right. So this is, I don't know if I printed or not. I did. So I started on Christmas Day. I started Evening in the Park by Chatelaine. That's this one. I'm not stitching it on the brown fabric. I kind of wanted the fabric to look like evening. So I had a piece of Abyss, Fabrics by Stephanie, that you just saw. And I started it, I'm going to show you my start, on this piece of Abyss. And what I came to realize, it's a very small start, thankfully, before I realized it. Let me get this folded up so I can show you. Is that this shows up very nicely, but a lot of the flosses were not going to show up nice. And so that was my initial start. I've since restarted. I had a piece of 32 count flax by Zweigart that I had gotten from Lindy Stitches a while ago. And I like the count of 32 for beading purposes. But I didn't like the natural color. I did not want to do it on a natural toned. As I said, I didn't want to do it on the brown. So I over-dyed this with a little bit of indigo blue. And I'm trying to get this folded so I can actually show you. It's got one of my Christmas needle minders on it that I got from Tiffany from Black Cat Stitchery. I'm going to show you this. And this is where I am. And I am really liking, I know on the camera, at least for me on the camera, it doesn't look like it's going to stand out much, but it really does. And I like it much better on this fabric. This fabric was just over-dyed by me with indigo blue. And I think it will work out just fine. So that's my Evening in the Park. As you know, if you've been here a while, you know that I already have another chatelaine going called Mushroom and Fern. So now I have two of them going. It's okay. The last WIP I have to show you was me trying to get a finish this year. I'm not sure it'll happen before the strike of midnight tonight. But it's Tired Trio by Plum Street Samplers. I am stitching this on 28 count Monaco, over tea-dyed Monaco. Not a fan of Monaco. Been fighting with this WIP. Anyway, doing it with all the called for threads, and sorry, I'm going to apologize ahead of time for hanging threads. If you're here, you know that I always kind of leave threads hanging. Mainly because I don't trust my counting ability, so I tend to park where I think it should be. And this is where I am. So I'm finished with everything except for the back stitch all the way down to this sloth right here. And I'm hoping to work on it more today. I'm hoping to work on it and get it done so I don't have to work on this anymore. And it's not the piece that I don't like, it's the fabric. And so that is my last WIP to show you. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit of haul. It was Christmas presents. We do a Secret Santa in my family, so my son-in-law drew my name, and he got me some DMC floss. He got me size 1 DPNs. And then he got me size 28 cross-stitch needles. So I have that. That was awesome. What else do we have here? Nothing. I think that's it. Other than cleaning up this room. So, I don't even know how to start this whole conversation. I do not necessarily believe in New Year's resolutions. However, I do believe in the process of sitting at the end of a year and looking back and evaluating what went well and what didn't. And for me, that's not just about my stitching. It's about healthy behaviors. It's about balance between work, school, and home. It's about a lot of things. Balance between crafts. It's a lot of things. And I think I was talking to a friend for the day. She came over on Thursday, and we were having long conversations about the evaluation of 2022. And talking to her, I kind of realized that my work life was pretty chaotic for 2022 in my brain. Whether I was doing that to myself or it was just things that were happening around me, it didn't matter. It was chaotic. Home life also was a little chaotic. We had some more things come into play as far as care of parents, and things like that. So that became a little more chaotic. And my crafting became very chaotic. So what essentially happened in 2022 is I started the year off with WIPGO and some full coverage goals. Pretty stringent full coverage goals. One of my goals was to finish Modern Folk Embroidery Fruits of Plenty, which I did. But after that, I seemed to not complete much of anything. I did get 13 finishes this year. And I do typically work on larger projects, so it makes sense that I would not have a lot more finishes than that. But the bulk of my finishes came between October and December. And I can tell you, just knowing myself the way I do, that was the pressure of the end of the year looming and the need to get something done. So my last video, I said I'm not going to plan anything. And I'm just going to stitch what I want when I want. And that is true. However, I do think general goals in life is good. I think for me, once I tie it down too much, then that becomes destructive. Because then it just is me not meeting a goal. And that's not good either for your psyche to have that happen all the time. So I was watching Teresa Little Stitcher the other day, and she described how she had done WIPGO for this year, because she also struggles with goals being too stringent or too maybe not realistic, and also too stringent. So taking the lead from her, I'm totally stealing this idea from her, and I actually told her I'm going to steal this idea so she knows. I have 2 WIPGO boards. I know I said I wasn't going to do WIPGO. I had never thought about doing WIPGO in this manner before. And I like it. So I have a WIPGO board for my full coverage. And I have a WIPGO board for categories of stitching. So let me get these out so I can show these to you. I also bought a new planner, which I'm liking. Sorry, I had to yawn. Didn't think you wanted to see that. So I have a category WIPGO board. So for example, my categories are chatelaine, sampler, winter or Christmas, fall or Halloween, summer or patriotic, and then I have a miscellaneous category that contains 5 projects that don't fit into any of those categories. So I filled out my board with categories. Each category for each given call will get 3 days of stitching. So one board will get me 6 structured days of stitching. However, the categories, for example, in January, 6 and 10 were called. So my category is miscellaneous. So I can pick one of the projects out of my miscellaneous category, which happens to be Tired Trio falls into that category, the one I just showed you with the sloths. So if that's not finished before we go into the new year, that may be the one that I pick for. Sorry, now I'm yawning because I'm on FlossTube. I have no idea why. That may be what I pick to work on for that 3 days. The other category that was on my board for 10 was fall and or Halloween. I pretty sure at this point I'm going to pick Halloween Quaker. Yeah. And that's not to be said that what I put in those categories couldn't be a new start. So I haven't ruled out new starts. And that's only 6 days worth of stitching of the month for that WIPGO board. My other WIPGO board is for my full coverage. So I currently have 5 full coverage pieces. I have Lost No More, Bonded by the Rain, Disney, Stitching Shelf, and Grand Library. My number 6 was Lost No More. So Lost No More will get 3 days of work, whatever 3 days those are. And the Grand Library will also get 3 days of work. So for 6 days for this board and 6 days for this board, 12 days. 12 days, right? I will have stitching dictated to me out of the month. Just 12 days. Beyond that, I can stitch on whatever I want. Now, so I like those WIPGO boards, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do these WIPGO boards. That means for the ones with categories, I'll probably wait till the day of to pick the project that I want to stitch on. But like I just said to you, I think it's going to be Tired Trio and Quaker, Halloween Quaker. By Leela Studio. Not ruling out new starts. I just don't feel like starting anything right now. I almost started another full coverage. I may do that sooner rather than later. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm not ruling out anything. I just think that to have some sort of loose goals would be good. That being said, I do have some pieces that I do need to finish this year. So I have a wedding piece that I need to finish. I'm targeting June. And in order to do that, I have to stitch so many stitches on it a month. So that's definitely going to be worked on, and you will see that here. I also have another piece that needs to be almost done by June, so I can finish it at StitchCon with my friends. And I will also be stitching the Year in the Woods sale that I'm doing with Gail from Gail's Golden Needle. So that will all be done. I think this plan gives me some structure as far as goals, but doesn't tie me down so much to stuff that I just feel suffocated. I think in 2022, I feel like my work life got a little out of control as far as my boundaries and how I was dealing with the work life and the increased responsibility with parents and things like that. My personal goals suffered, and so it was personal crafting goals, it was personal health goals, it was lots of other things too, like reading. I used to read for fun. I haven't done that in a long time because I've been in school for many years, obtaining degree after degree in my nursing career, but I'm going into my last semester of my master's program, yay, and I want to start reading for fun. So you guys saw this. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw this. You see that stack of textbooks right there? Those textbooks are for my last semester in my master's program. When I'm done, I will have a master's degree in nursing education. I'm anxious to have that done. One of my goals this year, I picked... So you guys may not know this because I don't talk about this a lot on the channel. I collect books. So I have a book collection. I just buy books that I think I want to read, and when I have time, I'll eventually read them. Well, I have these stacks of books that have never been read over the last several years because I've been in school. I've picked 5 books that I want to read this year. 5 books. And I won't necessarily talk about the books on this channel. I'm just talking about that's one of my goals, is one of those 5 books. I don't think that's a lot. I also have a Hue Shift Afghan that I started when I was teaching myself how to knit. And this picture is going to be really wrinkly. I got the kit from Knit Picks. It is this Afghan. And I started almost 2 years ago, I think. And I have exactly 8 squares out of 100 to do. 100 done. 11 squares out of 100 done. So I have 89 squares left. I would like to finish this year. So I have on my planner that I need to get 2 squares done a week. And I'm going to show you where I am right now. It's a mess. This is, oh, that's the back. Let's show you the front. This is where I am right now. And I'm going to be doing 2 squares a week. And we're going to see how those goals go. I have everything planned out in my planner as far as what my goals are for the month. I've only worked on January. I also have the goal of in January finishing the socks that are currently on my needles and starting another pair of socks. I have my book goal in here, my full coverage. My WIP go for January is in here on a post-it note so I can move it from week to week and track my progress. I may or may not track stitches. I go kind of on and off about that. I might more on my full coverage track percentages if it's a HAID or something that I can track on Pattern Keeper, but I'm not going to sit here and count stitches either. But I also have things like healthy eating, exercise, and reading as part of my goals for this year. Because come April, I won't be in school anymore. And I don't want to be at the end of this wondering what to do with all my free time. I want to actually see what I can accomplish now. Because honestly, when we were doing Modern Folk Embroidery's Fruits of Plenty, we were stitching 4,000 to 5,000 stitches a month to keep up with that. I want to hold myself to that same standard. And I stitched on other things as well. So I had something pushing me going forward. So I'm trying to push myself without chaining myself down, if that makes sense. Much quicker video than I thought this was going to be. I think evaluation is good. I think having goals is good. And for me, having goals is really good. Less screen time is one of my goals. And more reading for fun, as you see with my books. More exercise, more getting outside, more drinking water, eating fresh foods. And I think everybody comes out of the holidays wanting to do that, right? Just eating better. But I just wanted to get one more video out to tell you I do have some loose plans. I would like to continue to reduce my WIP pile. I would like it 20 or under. I don't think that's going to happen this year. Maybe next year. I don't know. We'll see how things go. You never know. If I force myself to be 3 days in a project, you never know. If it's a really good day and I get lots of stitching time, I could see more finishes than I think. I do have larger projects. And every once in a while, I get what they call start-itis and just have to start all the things. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But that's a starting point for now, for 2023. I hope you guys have a great new year, and I'll see you on the other side.